Hello, beautiful thrivers, Mel here. What a crazy couple of days with the USA election. So, yeah, just let me know that you can hear and see me okay. I'm just going to make sure that we've got connection. Because up here in Cape Troop, it can be a little bit funny sometimes. And I tried to go live previously and yeah, we just weren't getting connection. Okay, I think we've got connection. I think it's all good. All right, so how are we all doing? So we've had the presidential election has been decided. And I've been wanting to do this episode for a little time, and it's about, hello, how you going? It's about darkness and light and how darkness has no effect on us when we take our light back. Because a lot of people have been in fear on a personal level, obviously from narcissists, but also 100% too about what's going on in the world. And in the last few years, I never really had an interest in politics much, but I definitely have. And it's not because I'm interested in politics. I'm interested in dark and light. I'm interested in freedom. I'm interested in health. I'm interested in the world being in a healthy place and in unity consciousness and in ascension, which is really all that I'm about personally and publicly. So hi guys. So I want to have a talk to you today with another transformative episode, because what this is about exploring a truth that the narcissist's greatest fear is you stepping into your true self, because it's where they actually have absolutely no power over you. So let me know where you are in the world, how you're doing, how you're feeling after the presidential election in the US, which is kind of really important for the whole world at the moment, because we know the whole world is batshit crazy at the moment. It completely and utterly is. How are you feeling about it? How are you feeling about life going forward? Because our sovereignty and our power, no matter what is going on in the world, is so, so important. So today I wanted to help you out with some power intentions and how to anchor into your power to be able to go forward. Because why is this so important? Because when you reclaim your power, when you rise into your authentic self, you actually become unstoppable, no matter what is or isn't happening outside of you. So what are narcissists all about? What do they do and what do they need to do? A narcissist needs to keep you disconnected from your authentic power. Because if you're not in your true self, well then they have the grip on you that you can't break free from. And when you do rise into your authentic power, when you take back your true self, what it means is that you start ascending. And ascension, we're talking about it a lot lately. A lot of people are 3D, 5D. 3D is the old system of life in our world, which is fear, pain, and suffering. 3D means that we're handing our power away. We're not sovereign. We're not listening to our intuition. Maybe we're being directed and told what to believe instead of knowing what we believe on the inside. And we're in fear. We're in fear of what happens if I go my way? What happens if I trust myself? What happens if I stand up against people in my life who are dark, who are controlling, who are manipulative, who are benefiting off me by sucking my soul, my resources, and my health? Because these are very important questions for all of us in our personal lives and also too in our expansive life. Now, if you are ready to stop just surviving and trying to deal with the confusion and the pain, and is it me, is it them? Am I, can I go my own way, or do I have to try to play it safe and hand over my power and appease and acquiesce to others, but yet it's not working? If you're sick of doing that and you want to actually start thriving in your life and be free to be you, I want you to write thrive on in the comments. Because this is about throwing off the chains of your past, moving into your fullest potential. Because that's available to all of us. I used to have a life where I used to acquiesce. I used to people please. I used to believe that certain systems and rules were absolutely necessary, rather than, hang on, this doesn't feel right. This isn't good for me. This isn't good for anybody. And since I started being sovereign in my life started to work. But it is about getting out of fear. When we're out of fear, we transcend limitations and we start living as a true self. And that's a 5D self. So what does fifth density living mean? Fifth density living means you've got your heart open. You're living in authenticity. You're being honest with yourself. You're getting divine guidance and you're showing up as somebody who is real and true from a heart center. It makes you incredibly supported. It makes you incredibly safe. Does it mean that you're going to lose people in your life? Absolutely. And what's great is you start losing people who are not there for your best interests. People who've been banking on you being small and fearful and not able to be your true self around them, because that's exactly where narcissists need you to be. They need you to be minimalized. They need you not wanting to take up space, trying to keep the peace, playing it safe, acquiescing to others. And that's where they can mine you, manipulate you, guilt trip you, gaslight you, and do all sorts of things to you. And that's exactly what we're needing to break out of. So why do narcissists fear your true self so much? I've said it time and time again. Think of the metaphor of a vampire. We know in the metaphor of vampire that if you shine a bright light on a vampire, they have to run and scream back into the shadows. What does the light represent? Your true power. You are a source being. You are made in, and this isn't a religious conversation, it's a deeply spiritual conversation. You are made in the image and the likeness of source, which is higher power, no matter what you want to call your higher power. But your higher self is a higher power. And the thing is, with humans, we've been numbed and dumbed down. We've been disconnected from our intuition, disconnected from our higher power, and made to believe the narratives, the propaganda, and the control that we've been taught to acquiesce to. But yet we've discovered within all of that, it doesn't feel good. We're still battling. We're still struggling. We're still confused. We're still sick. We're still stressed. We're still traumatized. So that is obviously not the right way to go. And this is kind of the precipice that humankind has been brought to over the last few years, ramping up intensely for us to say, that's just not working in my life anymore. There's something deeper calling me. There's something deeper I know. Now, I know a lot of you in the community, you're already up on this. You're already realizing this, and you're already claiming that right to be yourself and go your own way. And you may have even noticed in our world that a lot of the narcissistic structures and people are falling. They're getting exposed. You might have seen it in your own personal life. You know, the things that were kind of skulking around in the shadows are now really exposed. You're starting to see them more clearly. Say me in the comments if this relates to you. If you now are going, wow, I'm seeing that now. I'm seeing it in my own life. I'm seeing, people are people, and there are beautiful people in the world, but there are people who have always not had your best interests at heart. And it can be heartbreaking when maybe it's a spouse, when maybe it's a friend, it's your family. And you're just like, hang on a minute. No, this isn't okay anymore. Unfortunately, narcissism has been a trauma-ridden epidemic on this planet. Hurt people, and that's what narcissists do. So the greatest fear for a narcissist is for you to no longer need their validation. Okay, this is so big. So when you in your life know who you are, and you feel comfortable in that, and it's between you and source, you feel full, you feel whole, because you've done the inner work and you've reclaimed that lost self that was buried under trauma, you start to know who you are. And a narcissist needs you to try to get their validation, to try to get their love and approval so that you have survival and security with them. And when you have no need for that, when you've reclaimed all of your self-worth and self-value, then they cease to have power over you. And they fear that the most, because that means, hi Faye, hi Miroslava, it's beautiful to see you guys, you beautiful ladies. All right, so that's what the narcissist is terrified of, that you no longer need to hook into them, to lecture, to prescribe, to try to change them, to try to fix them, to try to get them on board. All narcissistic supply all attention where you're handing your life force and your vibration away to them to try to get them to validate you. Who here has had an awful time trying to get somebody's validation who doesn't have the ability, doesn't have the desire, and actually loves confusing, manipulating, and gaslighting you and blaming and shaming you the more that you try to get them to validate you? Let me know, say me in the comments if that's happened to you. And I tell you what, if you don't want that in your life, write thrive on in the comments. Let's start taking our power back. All right. So, narcissists lose control over you where you no longer need them to validate you, and that strips them of this power and it removes from them your energy, your emotions, energy in motion, which is loosh, which feeds a false dark self, is your emotional energy. That's their power source, that's their battery. They aren't connected to source. They don't have their own power source. They need to use you as a battery to get you emotionally triggered, handing over your emotions to them. All right, so if this speaks to you, I want to invite you to pause and set a power intention with me, okay? Because this is really going to help. So our first power intention, what I want you to do is to just open your body and breathe, because what we do when we stand together in a power intention, it becomes an inner standing. It means that we can embrace it, we can absorb it, and it literally starts to cellularly give us an upshift. But if we're in our head and we're trying to analyze it and think about it, that doesn't work. It's got to soak in. So you breathe, you open up your body, and let's say this together. I want you to repeat after me. I am free from all energetic chains and attachments of fear, pain, and suffering. Breathe this in. I align my heart, mind, and soul with my highest purpose, transcending limitations into my true fifth density self. So again, just as you breathe, I'm going to repeat this to you. You've already taken it on the inside. I'm free from all energetic chains and attachments of fear, pain, and suffering. I align my heart, mind, and soul with my highest purpose, transcending all limitations into my true fifth density self. Our fifth density self is expanded. We're in authenticity. We're aligned with source, which means that we start moving into power, support, safety, open-hearted expansion. It's where all the good stuff is. Okay. And this is exactly what our mission is about on planet Earth, especially at this time when it is batshit crazy. We know that. Look at the world and everything that's going on around us. And what is our true work here? Our true work isn't to try to wrestle and fix and change out there. It's to get aligned in here. Because when we get aligned in here, we start breaking free and we start creating in the field the match for how we're resonating and vibrating on the inside. And your ego would say to you that if you let go of the fear and the pain and your defenses, you're going to be unsafe. But it's actually the complete opposite. When we're hanging on to fear, pain, and defenses, we attract exactly what we're in fear and pain about and what we're trying to defend ourselves from. Because our inner universe is vibrationally in unity consciousness unfolding our outer universe. When we change on the inside, everything vibrationally changes. We stop attracting and participating in the things that we fear that cause us pain, and we start showing up fearlessly to say no. And that longing and those trauma bonds and those attachments that we've had, because we've had those broken parts of us that are trying to get somebody on the outside to validate us, to give us our healing. Whereas the people that we've been doing that with are the people who are not going to give us our healing. We're going to give us more of the fractures that we haven't healed yet. And this is exactly what goes on with narcissists. And this is why I really wanted to speak to this, because it's such a really big topic in our world right now for us who have been narcissistically abused. So if you are new to my work, welcome to the Thriver community, because this is exactly what the mission is in the Thriver community. It's about healing deeply and stepping in to our greatest strength and our greatest light, our true self. And that's exactly what narcissists fear the most. Not in a fear way where they're going to keep attacking and battering you, in a fear way where they've got to run back into the shadows. Like the vampire when the light is shone on them, they cannot be in the presence of an authentic self who's fearless. It's impossible. There's nothing that they can't take your bullets to shoot you with, because that's exactly what narcissists do. So let's talk about why narcissists are drawn to certain people. They absolutely target really nice people. And I have to say, in the last 20 years in this community, the people that I've met who've become dear friends are the most spectacular human beings I could ever imagine, because they target individuals with empathy, people who've got a lot to give, who care about people, who give them, a free pass often and give them more chances because they can see why they would do something. They feel sorry for their childhoods. And we give a lot of chances. We forgive a lot of unforgivable behavior over and over again because we care about people. And I know that you've done that, because otherwise you wouldn't have been narcissistically abused. So these are qualities of people also too who make natural healers and natural caregivers. And a lot of people in this community are connected to spiritual pursuits. They want to make a difference. They kind of feel that there's some sort of purpose that they want to do in the world. Or they might be nurses or caregivers. I've met gorgeous souls who've worked in palliative care and all sorts of things. And it's amazing how many people in these industries with these soul heart pursuits are absolutely targeted by narcissists. And the reason is because we kind of allow them, sadly, to get away with a lot of stuff. Our boundaries aren't as good as maybe people with less empathy, or maybe more empathy for themselves rather than others, which we've had a problem with. And narcissists feed off sensitive, I call them HSPs, highly sensitive people, starseeds, which is a conversation I'm about to get into. But, these are people that are very spiritual or interested in the deeper truths in life, have often been on a search for the meaning to life, are starseeds. And they're highly sensitive people who care about the world and what goes on in it. I'm tipping that is you. You wouldn't even be listening to this if it wasn't you. So narcissists use you as a battery hen, as a source of supply to source, because they don't have it. They're disconnected from source, God, creation, all that is, higher power, whatever you want to call it, you know, true source. They're disconnected because the narcissist declares in their egoic insanity, I'm source. I'm the king ruler of all that is. And, you know, they don't bow or share power with anybody. They take it from everybody and declare it as their own. Separation consciousness. So they don't have an energy source like the myth of vampire who's the living dead. It's the same on an emotional source level. They are the living dead. So they need to plug in to life force, to people who are beautifully source connected. But sadly for us, because a lot of us have come, and I'm just going to say it, from different realms as star seeds, as highly ascended beings who came down here to try to make a difference, had total amnesia about that, and were really kind of open-hearted and felt everything, but didn't realize how hard and traumatic and what a mess it has been here, planet Earth, on consciousness. And we've absorbed a lot of the trauma and got taken out by the trauma and didn't know how to heal that up and get boundaries and step into our power. And also too, you know, we were about sharing power. It's like it's hard to declare power for ourselves because we might have thought that's really egotistical. That's not nice. But yet it's essential, and it's essential on planet Earth. And it can be a beautiful thing that has nothing to do with hubris. It's to do with authenticity. And that's what we're moving into. I hope that this makes sense to you. And if it does, I want to invite you into another power intention that I would love to say with you guys. So just open your body and breathe. And just repeat after me. I reclaim my power. Releasing all imprints of trauma, doubt, and disempowerment. I activate my light body, embodying confidence, love, and unity as I fulfill my authentic mission. And don't try to intellectualize it. Just let it soak through the cells of your body. This is remembering. What does remembering mean? It means coming back together. This isn't teaching you anything. It's what you cellularly already know. You've just had programming and trauma inflicted by narcissistic people and narcissistic systems so that you forgot who you really are. So just breathe, body open. I'm going to say it again and just let my words soak through your being. I reclaim my power, releasing all imprints of trauma, doubt, and disempowerment. I activate my life body, embodying confidence, love, and unity as I fulfill my authentic mission. And you may say, what is my authentic mission? Your authentic mission is to be the light, is to be your authentic self, is to be free of the shackles that have disconnected you from who you really are. And then all else follows from that. Okay, so I'm just going to take a moment now. What I would love you to do is hit the like button, share this, and comment to help spread the message to others who need to hear this. The people who have been in their heads trying to research narcissists, learn all about them, who haven't realized emancipation and liberation is about doing the inner work and just rising into who we are, and then it's all obsolete out there, anything that has tried to take our power from us. The more we give that attention, the more we roll around in that, the more we try to fight with that, change that, learn about that, research that, the more we give it power. Does that make sense? This is so important to understand. Okay, so let's have a look at the common energetic chains from narcissistic abuse. And reclaiming our true self is so powerful because we get energetic chains, which are trauma bonds that are formed through narcissistic individuals, and they keep us tethered to 3D, fear, pain, and suffering, which if we are emotionally vibrating at that level, no matter what you're trying to think, so if we have got unfinished emotional liberation work, if we haven't done it, what we're feeling on the inside is fear, pain, and suffering. And that means that we're in third density reality, which means that we're going to keep experiencing fear, pain, and suffering because our inner universe matches our outer universe. That's what quantum law is. So within, so without. So what happens in these lower frequencies of living, we're bound to self-doubt and fear. And of course, we've got dependency on others. And we've actually age regressed, which means that we feel like a child on the inside, whether we're a man, whether we're a woman. We feel like that triggered, powerless child who doesn't have any power, who has to either put up defenses or try to plead helplessness to try to get our needs met. And it never works. We also, too, have very deep past life memories that are in the zeitgeist of the human experience that follow us as a soul in evolution from lifetime to lifetime, which means that if we haven't cleaned up the terrors of abandonment, the terrors of persecution, narcissists use that against us so much. And never ever doubt they are like a heat-seeking missile that can sense exactly where your chink is in your armor, and they know how to hit it, they know how to play on it, and they know how to keep you in low vibration, where in the shadows, where they can attack you, mine you, and exploit you. Okay, so let's have a look at what some of these trauma bonds are and how they affect you. So emotional addiction is a massive part of narcissistic abuse. And I went through that horrifically. Like, I felt like I was an ice addict crawling on a mat for a little sniff of the drug. Like, it was just the most horrible feeling. And I know a lot of people have gone through that too. And it freaks you out because you think, I'm a really smart, intelligent person. Why do I feel so addicted? Why can't I leave it alone? Why do I need to keep thinking about, should I write a letter? Am I going to send a message? I'm going to do a drive-by. I just have to talk to them. I really need that, I need that accountability. I need them to care, whatever it is. It just goes on and on and on. And we can't let go with that emotional addiction. And what is that emotional addiction about? It's third density. It's fear, pain, and suffering. We're in a lower frequency that we haven't taken back our true self on those topics. Often it's the stuff that happened in our childhood. Often it's survival programs. If I don't get that person to validate me, I feel like I'm going to die. That's how it feels. And I know you guys have felt that because that's what happens in narcissistic abuse. Fear and anxiety. So it's just constant fear and anxiety. Like, we've got cortisol and adrenaline happening all the time. When you're in cortisol and adrenaline, what happens is you're in the amygdala of your brain, which is helpful if we want to get up a tree from a rabid dog. But it's really bad in human interactions because what happens is we lose all frontal lobe access and also all higher chakra access to calm, logic, power, divine guidance, intuition. We are completely, and I just have to say it, we are completely dumb when we're in cortisol adrenaline. All we know is fight, flee, freeze, or fawn, which a narcissist completely uses against you. So if you fight back, it's reactive abuse. Because what's happened is they've triggered you and hurt you. You've gone, ouch, you come back, and then you get blamed for reacting to it. And then if you overreact because you're so frustrated, you know, you may lash out and they will use that against you and demonize you for doing that. So it doesn't work. You know, if you freeze, then you're internalizing the abuse and it starts eating you alive. If you fawn, you're handing over more of your boundaries to an abuser who then just, you know, you give an inch, they take a mile. You can't acquiesce your way out of tyranny, and that's what fawning is. If you flee, you know, you may flee and take off, but then the narcissist will use that against you, accuse you of abandoning them, or they will pretend they don't care. You know, you go and take yourself to safety, and then they just block you and cut you off from everything, and then, you know, you feel even worse. So none of these things work. It's awful. It's just so terrible. Belief in unworthiness, of course, because you've been devalued so horrifically by a narcissist. What happens is you internalize their devaluation, and then your inner narrative becomes not just the critical voice, it becomes the gaslighting voice. It becomes the narcissistic voice. That it's all my fault. I'm wrong. I'm evil. I'm bad. I'm messed up. I'm a nutcase. All those horrible things that we start doing to ourselves. Guilt and shame is huge, and guilt and shame has had so many layers on this planet, and it's been one of the most powerful ways that narcissistic abusers have been able to control people is by smearing. And have a look at the world stage, the amount of smearing that goes on for anybody who tries to question or speak up or have an opinion against the programmed legacy narrative is completely guilted and shamed. And as soon as you start hearing words like labels, demeaning labels on people, rather than inviting a conversation with facts on the table that are an open debate, which is what healthy non-narcissistic people do, by the way. As soon as there are labels, demeaning labels, you are dealing with a narcissist. And you might say to yourself, well, I've done that too. Of course you have. Because when you're around sick people, you get sick. And you get to a point of complete and utter frustration where you are just trying to explain the truth and lecture and prescribe the truth and bring things back to facts that you may start demeaning as well. And you look at yourself in the mirror and you go, oh my God, I'm an evil, horrible person. But you know, it would make a nun go to drink the way these people behave. But I want you to be very, very aware that out in the world, when you start hearing demeaning, it's very, very simple, right? Facts are facts. Let's talk about facts, right? Facts are just facts and they're talked about. But when words come in, this person is that label, this label, that label, that they're, you need to stand back and when it's happening to you and go, well, where's the actual evidence of this? Where is the evidence apart from these demeaning words? Because that is where you're dealing with narcissism, sociopathy, psychopathy, and sycophant. It's actually, and when you understand history and you get into research, it's Marxism. It's actually a playbook. All right? So this is why I'm interested in politics over the last few years, because I'm seeing narcissistic abuse happening on a massive world stage. But it's very important to recognize it in our lives on a micro and a macro level, because it's happening in both places. And this is what Ascension is all about. We're in this prophesized time where personally, in our soul and our spirit, we break free from these lies and these prisons, and also our world does as well. But we're all doing it one person at a time, and it's very exciting because the evidence is overwhelming. It's happening. We're doing it. There is an uprising into sovereignty against narcissistic abuse, and they are powerless when you take back your light. So I'm very excited about this time, and but we've got to do the work. We can't just sit as passengers, as victims, looking at all of that and blaming and shaming all of that and staying the way we've been. We need to rise. So we've had this belief in unworthiness, the guilt and the shame, we've taken it on. And then, we start saying, well, I must be to blame. And even in arguments with these people, you go, okay, well, it's all my fault. I'm this, I'm that. And you start smashing yourself with the stuff that they're smashing you with. And of course, you're going to have self-doubt and confusion because you constantly are questioning your reality because of gaslighting. And this is why I say to everybody, turn off the news, do the inner work and listen to your own higher guidance and your intuition and follow that, because it will never, ever let you down. But when you start listening to information and you're starting to feel confused and uneasy and on edge and anxious, this is not truth. Even tough truth feels solid. Even things you have to face that you know are true, if you are willing to accept and align with the truth sets you free. It feels solid in your body. It doesn't feel like you're losing your mind. And that's how you're always going to feel when you're around narcissists. And the other thing that you feel is that your life force is drained, your energy, your vitality, your health starts declining badly. You are being narcissistically abused. And all of these states keep you locked in 3D reality, which means that you're bound to survival, fear, and limitation. But the truth is, and that's where narcissists need you. Like the narcissist in your life needs you there. The narcissistic systems need you there, because then you can be small, powerless, helpless, stuck in survival, trying to get food on the table and a roof over your head and, just so stressed that you can't even connect to your true self and start listening to it and acting on it. That's where they want you. So the truth is you can break free from these chains, and it doesn't need anybody in your life to change or any systems to change. That's another program belief. My life can never be different until this person or that system changes. That is BS. Complete garbage. All right, you are so much more powerful than that. And the thing is, when you start rising into your light and your connection to Source, you become unlimited, because Source and you are the field, and in unity consciousness, it means you have access to unlimited potential. So that person or that system, why do you need that when you've got every and anything else that is possible in potentiality that exists in the field, that you're starting to vibrate at a higher frequency that's going to give you more authenticity, power, truth, and expansion, which is all wholesome because it's all correct. It's right action. And your right action for you is right action for the world, not this other garbage that's been going on. All right, so now what happens is reclaiming your light means that you start being empowered, abundant, you align with your true path. It starts happening organically. It starts happening through your own intuition, your own guidance, synchronicity, miracle, and opportunity start coming into your life. You lose appetite for the people that aren't a vibrational match for you anymore. And if they come into your life, because you're authentic, and authentic people trigger non-authentic people. They just do, right? Like, it's a bit of a downside to it as well, but it's an incredible upside after narcissistic abuse, because you are going to trigger people who are not in authentic truth or not willing to grow or not willing to be there. And then you get to see who is or isn't on my team. And it's less people, of course, but it's wholesome, good people that you can travel life with, who are going to grant you more wind under your wings instead of taking your wings off you. There's just no comparison. So once you start reclaiming your light, you become untouchable. And as you heal, you realize that even though narcissistic abuse has been so painful, so devastating. You've been to hell and back through narcissistic abuse. You have been in the literal bowels of hell with narcissistic abuse. If somebody had never been through it, they couldn't even begin to understand how nuts it is. It's indescribable. We all know that. However, because we are put into a position of the most intense darkness that we could ever imagine at a soul level, not just stuff breaking down in our life, our soul gets literally polluted with sludge. We have to do the inner work to reclaim ourselves. But what we do through that is we don't just get back to life before narcissistic abuse. We actually go up octaves that we would never have had access to unless this happened to us. That is the absolute and utter truth. You couldn't give me $10 trillion to go back to life before I got narcissistically abused. You couldn't, because this experience is what gave me my light. Because I was forced to do the work to find my light. And I'm so grateful that at a soul contract level, this happened for me and not to me. It was touch and go. I nearly didn't make it. But I am so grateful that I awakened and I found the way to do this. And now, of course, my mission is helping other people awaken and find the way to do this as well. So here's an important truth in all of this. Many intuitive, sensitive souls, beautiful people with empathy do get narcissistically abused. That's the truth. And we can say, well, they're horrible, they're shocking, they're this, they're that, that's terrible. Let's try and imprison them all and just stay abused and victims. Or we can say, maybe there was a deeper purpose for this. Maybe this was part of my soul contract for me to finally, as a starseed, as an empath, as an intuitive, as a highly sensitive person, as a person who has an incredible connection to source organically. That's why I'm interested in spiritual stuff and the deeper meanings to life, which most of you are. Maybe there was a reason for this. Maybe I was actually on a mission. And maybe my mission is not just for me to reclaim my life. And I promise you won't just reclaim it, you'll accelerate it tenfold. But maybe I was here to be a way shower for others, to help them understand that there was a deeper purpose to this as well. So does that mean that I'm just going to stay as a victim, learning all about narcissists and claim my wounds as a badge and just roll around in them? Or am I going to say, no, I don't want this lifetime to be for that. I don't want it to be for naught. And I don't want to have to reincarnating lifetime after lifetime, carrying this trauma, coming back into the karmic cycle of more 3D fear, pain and suffering because I never did the work. I never released the trauma, went up with the light and actually rose into my true crystalline self. My 2-strand DNA, I didn't activate it to 12-strand DNA. Which is as human beings made in the image and the likeness of source, all that is. We are meant to be operating on 12-strand DNA. We've been programmed and poisoned with information and literals to have everything calcified and shut down and believe that we're small, powerless and useless. None of it is true. And this is the time. So, narcissists and narcissistic systems that are using you as a battery hen to feast off, literally, the Matrix is not fiction, it's a documentary. The evidence is everywhere. But when you get connected to source and you know. I know a lot of you already know. So here's an important truth. The narcissist doesn't want you to realize your power, your worth, and your true mission, which is to awaken to the light and your power and be a way shower for others to do it as well. They fear you awakening because if you step into your true self, they have no grip on you at all. You become untouchable. So what is this really about? This is really about the journey from 3D to 5D. And the good news is you are organically coded to do it. It's actually who you already are. You've just had piles of false programming and trauma that's deactivated you. But organically underneath it this is exactly who you already are. There's nothing to learn here. There's just junk to shed so that it all comes back online. And that's what the Ascension Path is all about. And if you've been following my work and getting my emails and you're a part of the community, you know that I'm speaking up more and more about that journey of ascension from 3D to 5D consciousness. Because it is narcissistic abuse collectively and personally that has put us in 3D. That's the truth. It's all about narcissistic abuse. That place of fear, survival, and pain. Yet, is this making sense? Let me know if it is in the comments. Is this resonating with you? Okay. All right, so in 5D, you are no longer bound by the trauma of the past. You're free of it. You've let it go. You've put in light, your true self, where that was. You've activated your higher DNA strands. You've moved up in a vibrational frequency where you start feeling whole. You start feeling supported by the field and source. You're in the flow of synchronicity and alignment and wholeness. And solidness and confidence changes everything. And therefore, you're no longer age regressed into unhealed wounds of the traumas of the past that are stuck in repeat and narcissists being able to feast off that. Because they do. That's what they feast off. And what happens in that is, we go into our powerlessness. We have mental breakdown, we have emotional breakdown, we have physical breakdown. And then we look to other narcissistic systems to fix it, right? And these narcissistic systems were never set up to fix it. They were set up to keep you sick and alive so that you can keep being a customer. They didn't want you taking your power back and ascending out of these states. They don't want you sovereign. Of course they don't. And I think over the last few years, hopefully for you, this has become more and more obvious. This isn't about people. This is about profit, right? So let's just open and breathe. And I want to give you another power intention to start soaking through your cells and start bringing your remembering online. So just open and breathe. And repeat after me. I open myself to infinite love, abundance, and connection. Knowing my healing is part of a greater mission. I'm here to ascend, to inspire, and to guide myself and others towards freedom and wholeness. Okay, so just let that soak through your cells. So many people in this community who've been narcissistically abused have realized or felt deeply that they're not just here to live an ordinary life. You felt like the black sheep in your family, the scapegoat. You feel like the one who's seen things clearly, who doesn't want to brush it under the carpet, but yet you're the one that everybody blames. You trigger other people. You get ostracized even when you're not trying to. You felt uncomfortable around people. It's like, well, who can I trust and who can't I? And maybe the older that you've got, You felt lonelier, like your circles have got smaller, and you've wondered, what's wrong with me? It's because you're a starseed who can relate to this. And a lot of starseeds have absolutely felt like there's got to be more. Like, I'm just not comfortable trying to fit into the mundane. I just struggle to fake friendships. I want something deeper. But what is that? And I touched on it before, but I believe, and over the years, and being a spiritual quantum healer, I've seen it time and time again, and I've understood it about my own journey, that starseeds are higher vibrational beings that knew unity consciousness. We knew transparency. We knew heart open. We understood integrity and authenticity and love and unity and empathy and care. We literally came from dimensional vibrations, call it other planets if you like, other star systems, where that was the norm. It was a higher frequency than 3D. And then what happened is we came here and our hearts broke. You know, we looked at the world and what people do to each other and what they do to animals and each other, and, you know, the brutality of war and all sorts of things. And it just broke our heart. We could not believe that a species at an unconscious or conscious level could do that to each other and be in such dire separation consciousness. And we got deeply traumatized. And we've tried to fix and we've tried to help and we've tried to, you know, make a difference the way that we've been doing it. But we didn't realize that in this dimensional reality in 3D, that we have to bring internal power back online to be able to be, and then it comes, which is exactly what become means. This can't be done from the outside in. It's got to be done from the inside out. And the time is now. And we've never had a more supportive time with quantum information and also the ascension that's going on, which is highly prophesized. And it's happening with Schumann resonance, it's happening with solar flares, it's happening with 4 galactic cycles that are all intersecting at the same time. It was prophesized through so many civilizations that this time in the Aquarian age that we're going into right here, right now, is all about the shift from 3D to 5D. But the truth is, not everybody's going to make it. If we stay mired in trauma and lower vibration, we're going to break, because that vibrational reality is not supported anymore. And that's why so much that it's in 3D, which is trauma, hurt people, and it's also shadows, and it's also deception and manipulation and all of those things. It's all coming up to the surface to be seen by all. It's being exposed. This is why we've got the P. Diddy stuff and so many things coming out. We've got, you know, the JFK files are going to be released now. Port Arthur, that happened in Australia here, that's all coming out. That was suppressed for 75 years. That's going to be released. So many things that we thought were the truth, that we were programmed into, that were actually narcissistic gaslighting, is all coming up to show us what's really going on. What have we been worshipping? What have we been believing? How have we been handing our power away? How have we been feeding a beast that has been actually attacking us covertly with the ways that we've been treated through systems? Why is the world in the state it is? Why do we have endless wars? Why do we have people that are getting genocided? Why are we still battling and in struggle to get food on the table and keep a roof over our head and pay our taxes, and we never have time to actually connect and be and thrive? Why do you think? And then you've got, you know, multi-billionaires in super yachts, private jets, telling all of us that cows farting is a bad thing and we shouldn't eat meat. Like, come on, right? That's all narcissistic. And it's just time, and people are waking up, and we're taking our planet, our lives, our sovereignty, our health, our value back. right, the time is now. So as powerful as we think narcissistic abuse is, it actually isn't. They have to take your fear and you're acquiescing to hurt you. If you say no, if you just say no and you don't comply, there's actually nothing that can happen, believe it or not. Because you're programmed to believe that it can, but it can't. And it actually goes back to the myth of the vampire. It's very interesting. The myth of the vampire is they would knock on the door and they would mesmerize, like through the door. And if you were strong enough to say no and don't open your door, nothing they could do. They would go to the next house. But if you opened your door, you acquiesced. You said yes, you engaged, right? And it's the same with narcissists, whether it's on a personal or a collective level. If you engage, if you acquiesce, you're giving full permission to be mined and abused. And actually, in the narcissistic psychopath rule book, to them, at the highest level of evil, and I promise you this, that if you acquiesce, they believe in their own sick, twisted way that because you've given permission, they're exempt from karma for what they do to you. It's actually in a satanic rule book, okay? They believe that if they let you know what they're doing, and even though they don't, right, they just fool you and manipulate and gaslight you and lie to you. But if you say yes to them, they're exempt from karma because you gave them permission to do to you what they wanted to do to you. Now, narcissists believe the same stuff in their own sick, twisted darkness, disconnection from source. It's really important to understand this. So, as painful as narcissistic abuse is, they don't have power, we give it to them. That's the truth. As painful as it is, this is the ignition switch for your starseed mission. I love what Joe Dispenza once said. He said, the point of personal catharsis is when life can no longer go on as normal. Now, most of the people that I've met in narcissistic abuse, life is not going on as normal because the soul trauma is so severe, you can't just get up and get on with it, right? Point of personal catharsis. There's no way known I would have connected to my roots, my true higher self, my starseed mission if I hadn't have got narcissistically abused and brought to my knees, crawling on the ground with dribble coming out the corner of my mouth. Now, I hope and pray that nobody has to get to that level to actually choose themselves. I did. I was pretty stubborn and I was tough. Doesn't matter what happens to me, I can get up and keep going. And eventually that theory got completely crushed. There was nowhere left to go. I had to turn in or I had to exit the planet. And thank God I turned in. And I have no symptoms today. I have no brain damage. I had brain damage. I have no adrenal malfunction, which I was told I would never heal. I have no CPTSD, agoraphobia, all of the things that I had. I have anxiety, depression. I just don't have those things because I accepted the starseed mission and I took me back, the real me, the true me, which is underneath it for all of us. Because this experience, it cracks us open. It really does. There's there's no props that we could grab that work anymore. They might give us a little bit of temporary relief, but they don't give us our soul healing. And, starseed missions do. All right, so what happens is when we're cracked open, we actually have to confront the darkest aspects of ourselves. And it doesn't mean we're bad people and it doesn't mean we're dark. What it means is we've been carrying darkness. We've had trauma inflicted upon us on this earth plane from past lives, from our childhood, from other disconnected from source people who are also in the dark with their traumas. They're either perpetrators or victims, which is what planet Earth has been, you're either a perpetrator or a victim, right? And that's all darkness, and we've absorbed that darkness. And as a victim of darkness, what it means is that we attract people who give us more of the same fear, pain, and suffering, because that's how energetic law works. Because God's source creation says, I adore you so much in the image and likeness of me as a fractal of source. Wherever you're vibrating, I'll grant you more of that, because ye are creator. So it's all about love, because there's no judgment on it. And we just create more of who we're being. That's what become means. Be it and it comes. So who are we becoming? Are we becoming descension, or are we becoming ascension? Right. So I wanted to talk about this because of the world event that just happened, which is massive. Okay? I'm very excited about the planet turning up the right way in many areas, and you're going to see it no matter, and this isn't about political parties, by the way. It's not. It's absolutely not. It's just about truth, integrity, listening to yourself, disconnecting from stuff you're told, do your own critical thinking, listen to your own intuition, and don't believe everything you're told, right? Follow the money and you'll understand why you're getting told a lot of the things that you get told. Follow the money, follow the control, follow the narcissists, right? The ones that really are. Okay, I'm not going to say any more about that. So anyway, and I also just wanted to tell you guys, there's only, I think, 6 days now, and I'm doing another Spa for the Soul 5D event. And in this event, we're really going to unpack a lot of the star seed origins, what has happened on planet Earth. I want to go into the history of that, not the history you've been taught. I want to go into the galactic history and what's really happening here. And this is going to help you identify with you, identify with your true mission, identify with how to take your light back, how to let go of piles of fear, pain, and suffering. And we're going to be doing 3 really powerful quantum freedom healing shifts in this event, which all you have to do is receive. I actually do it by proxy for the whole group. You follow just a few very simple instructions and you receive the powerful healing. So it's kind of like, this is why we call it soul spa. So if you go for a spa, for a massage and a treatment, you don't get off the table and get involved and make it happen. You lie down and you relax and you receive. So this is exactly the same. It's so, so simple. So this is coming up next week. And if you can't get to it live, you get the recording. It's just as powerful. And you also get in there your own workbook, which you get to keep for life. And it's a donation event. It's really inexpensive for you to get into this event. So you get your own workbook, which is going to make a lot of sense to you. And for the people that came into the October one, this is a very different workshop. This isn't a replay of October. This is another workshop altogether, which I'm so excited about. I'm even more excited about this one than October, and people loved October. But also too, we're going to have, I'm going to talk to you about the energy report, what's going on, because we've got an alignment that's coming up on November 19th, which 17th or 19th, I've got to check again. But this is actually the age of Aquarius. We've got Pluto going into Aquarius. We've got this major milestone that's happening vibrationally that is about the shift of timelines. So it's another massive breakdown of 3D timeline and 5D timeline coming in and taking over the present Earth vibration. It's one of the biggest events ever that's happened astrologically in this shift. It's happening this month. So I'm going to be talking about that. And also too, there's an ability in the workshop. I've got a free MP3, MP4 that's going to help you navigate the November energies. Also, we've got competitions and it's just awesome to hang out with a soul tribe, a starseed tribe, where you're not going to feel judged. You're not going to feel like people are calling you a nutcase. You're going to be able to be yourself, and they're the most loving, incredible people you could ever imagine. So I'm really excited to invite you into that. It's filling up really fast. We do have a limit on Zoom on how many people we can take. So grab yourself a seat. They may not run out, but it may run out. And you'll see the link above. So it's melanietoniaevans.com/ascension to get your seat, secure your place. You will have a profound transformation in there. And especially too, like you might be listening to what I'm saying today and you're going, Melanie, you're just off tap. Like, I just don't get any of that stuff at all, right? No, Melanie, what are you doing? Or you might go, well, thank you for having the courage to actually talk about this and speak about this, because I felt this, I've known this. Like, I want to lean into this, because I promise you, this is your way home out of this darkness, this fear, this pain, this suffering. It is so your way home. Quicker, more powerfully from the inside out than you could ever imagine. But also too, it means that you start shifting vibrationally into your divine mission on planet Earth. The reason you're actually here, you know, in this shit show, because it's nuts. The reason why you're here and where we're all going together, which we are. And I love that. So thank you for hanging out with me today and, you know, giving me the platform for this beautiful conversation. And we are, you know, Auden is saying that we're going out of duality, which is separation consciousness, me versus you. And it is the oldest narcissistic playbook that I'm going to create, you all attacking each other so that you don't look at me. Hello, planet Earth. This is exactly what's happened. Black against white, Christian against Muslim, man against woman, country against country, you know, minority group against majority group. Who's doing this? Who's orchestrating this? It's actually not us. It's actually not human nature at all. We are actually all coded for unity. We've just been really messed up and programmed to look at attacking each other instead of uniting and throwing out what has made us all do this. So we're doing it. So exciting. All right. So we've got Volley. So lovely to see you, Volley. You signed up. You're coming there. Anna, we caught up for a little chat last night. It was so cool. Faye's going to be there. Yeah, I love it. And it is an amazing thing. It's 3 hours, a profound experience. So, and even if you're just like, well, Melanie, I think this might sound a bit nuts, but maybe when I open my heart, there's something that gives me a little bit of, you know, my hair's standing up and my intuition's going, oh, wow, just come and see. It may be the best decision you've ever done for yourself, or it may be nothing. You might walk away and go, no, not for me, but at least you tried. But you know what? Come in. I'd love to see you there. It's one of my most favorite Thriver things to do, is to really work at what our souls and the world needs right now from all of us. And so that you can claim your biggest and best and most beautiful life. All right, guys, that's enough. Check out the link above, and I'll talk to you all soon. Love you guys. Bye-bye.